Om Guru Vajradhara Sumatimo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumatimo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Pakyuke Kodan Dagi Lo Pakyuke Sundan Dagi Nga Pakyuke Tukdan Dagi Ten Yerme Chiktu Jingi Lo Makyuke Kodan Dagi Lo Makyuke Sundan Dagi Makyuke Tukdan Dagi Ten Yerme Chiktu Jingi Lo Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Soham Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonamla Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapso Chi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Pinchira Sangye Drupa Rishun Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonamla Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapso Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Rola Pinchira Sangye Druparish Sangye Chedan Tsogi Chonamla Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsu Chik Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Rola Pinchira Sangye Druparish. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Two images come to my mind. The first is the image of a leaf in the wind. A leaf from a tree in the wind, the middle of the wind. Like yesterday we had strong winds, no? So you can see the leaves being taken up and down from the wind. So what happens with the leaf in the wind? It's taken anywhere, and the leaf is just going up and down. If you ask the leaf, "Oh, leaf, why are you here?" You know, what would the leaf say? "Oh, because the wind took me here." "Oh, you are very calm and relaxed and you are not moving much." "Oh, yes, because there is no wind around." "Oh, today you are agitated, going up and going down. Why happened?" "Oh, because of the wind." Okay? So the leaf just experiences reality as being a simple result of the conditions around. Okay. Then the other example is the metaphor of how do you say in English? An eagle. If you take an eagle, the same wind, the same day, the same wind, the eagle is using the wind for its own purpose. It's flying with the wind, going high, taking the different currents of the wind, and can go wherever the eagle wants to go. Okay? So the wind is the same. The difference is that the The leaf doesn't know how to ride the wind, doesn't know how to direct itself through the wind. It's just there, it's doing nothing and just waiting to be taken care to one place or to another. While the eagle has the ability to direct itself and choose where to go, how to go, and use the wind for its own favor. Okay? So we have these two images. The wind itself is not positive or negative. It depends how we relate to it. Okay? So the meaning of these two metaphors would be to be like a leaf on the wind or to be like an eagle on the wind. To be like a leaf, it is like, imagine, for instance, many situations that we experience, because in all our lives, there are good moments, there are difficult moments, there are easy moments, there are bad moments. It's like that. This is part of the life of every one of us. I have never seen anyone that had a life or have a life that never had any problem whatsoever. It's like this. And then moments go well, then things don't go well, then things go as we expect, then things don't go as we expect, then things don't go as we expect, then things don't go as we expect, then sometimes things go as we expect. This is more or less how things go. So what happens is that we all have good moments, bad moments, easy and difficult. But we are as a leaf in the moment that we say, oh, I am happy. Why? Oh, because this went in that way. I am sad because that other thing happened in that other way. Oh, today I am calm and relaxed because of this, this and that. Oh, today I'm completely agitated because of that, and that other situation. So we live our life just as if we were a simple result of the conditions around us. Just like a leaf being taken by the wind. Up and down, right and left, stay calm, go up, agitated, whatever. So, very often there is this attitude where we have of living our life, experiencing reality, just as if we were a result of the conditions around us. So why I do this, why I do that, why I act in a way, why I act in another, why I have this reaction, why I have that reaction, why am I happy, why am I suffering, and so on. Because of this, because of that, because he said, because he did, because she said, because she did, because of this, because of that. We have thousands of reasons of why things happen. And, we are a simple result of the world around us, basically. Okay. The other example is to be like an eagle, in which in life still we have problems, things go well, things go bad, things go as we expect, things don't go as we expect, and so on. Same. The wind is the same wind. But the difference is that being as an eagle, we learn how to use the circumstances around us. Good circumstances, bad circumstances, it doesn't matter. We use the situations on our own favor. That's why it's called we transform the circumstances on the path to enlightenment. Okay. And it's very important for us to learn how to use the wind in our favor, how to use the conditions in our favor. Because if we stay waiting for the conditions to be perfect, if you say, I want to go up there, I'm waiting the right wind that will take me, we can stay waiting for hundreds and thousands of lives. And it's simply not going to happen. Sometimes the wind takes us a little bit near, we say, I'm going in the right direction, then the wind takes us back again. And there we are just waiting. It's not going to happen. So the only choice truly we have is to learn how to use our abilities, to use the wind in our favor. Okay? Remembering there is no such a thing as good wind or bad wind by its own nature. So we need to, every wind can be used in a good or a negative way, in a positive or a negative way. It depends how we relate to the wind, how we use the wind to fly. So, learning how to use the wind correctly is what we call learning how to transform the positive and negative circumstances into the path to enlightenment. Because our goal is to reach enlightenment, is to develop love and wisdom, and so to reach enlightenment. So if we stay waiting that conditions will bring us to enlightenment, we can wait forever. Instead, if we use the conditions on our own favor for enlightenment, then we go gradually in that direction. Okay, it's a long flight, but we get there. So, in order to do this, there are different techniques, and the third point of the 7-point mind training is called transforming adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment. Actually, we need to transform not only the adverse, the difficult circumstances into the path to enlightenment, we need also to transform the positive circumstances into the path to enlightenment. Okay? And actually, somehow I think it's almost more difficult to transform the positive circumstances into the path to enlightenment than the difficult ones. Okay? Because, let's say the truth. When we are happy, when everything is good, there we are, we make a big expectation, our expectation is fulfilled. And we are in a moment of joy and satisfaction and pleasure, and we are just enjoying that moment. Do we care about samsara at that moment? Are we thinking, I need to get free from samsara and reach enlightenment? Are we thinking about the benefit of all sentient beings? Okay, we still have a good heart, we love others, but still, our priority at that moment is to enjoy our pleasurable moment. Is not to reach enlightenment, mostly. Then when things go bad, there we are still free. Then we remember samsara. Oh yes, samsara, no? Okay, I need to do something about it. So it's not so obvious to use the positive circumstances into the path to enlightenment. It's not that obvious, actually. Okay? But in order for us to transform also the positive circumstances into the path to enlightenment, we need actually on the basis to understand what we were talking a few days ago about understanding the 3 types of sufferings, which we saw it through the metaphor of the seesaw. That when it's up, we are happy, pleasure, suffering of change. When it's down, we are suffering, bad, suffering of suffering. And we pass our life. When we are up, we just want to stay up, so we don't even think about getting down, getting out of this seesaw when it's up, because it's nice. When it's down, we want it to go up. And then we are just constantly in our life going up and going down, going up and going down, going up and going down. Sometimes we stay long down, sometimes we stay a bit longer up, but we're always in this constant process. So the objective is to understand that when the seesaw is up or when it's down, it's of the same nature. It's always of the nature of the seesaw. And if I'm going to go up, inevitably I'm going to go down. When I go down, inevitably I'm going to go up. This is one point. So the objective is I must get out of the seesaw. I should not stay in it anymore. Okay? I must get out of it. So basically, what it happens is that when we do understand that the moments of pleasure are of the same nature of the moments of suffering, from the point of view that if it's a polluted state of happiness, polluted by attachment, by jealousy, by envy, by selfishness, by ignorance, and so on, inevitably it will become suffering again. So there is no point in trying just to grasp at that moment of pleasure. My wish is to go much beyond it. I must really eliminate my defilements and reach a deeper state of happiness and joy. No? So if we have this clarity, then we can use the positive moments also as a path to enlightenment. Because we are not grasping at it too much. No? This doesn't mean that we cannot have pleasurable moments. This makes me remember one text of Lama Tsongkhapa, which is Rimnga Saldren, is the lamp that enlightens the 5 stages on the path of the completion stage of Griya Samaja. And then on this text there is a moment the Lama Tsongkhapa is talking about I'm just going to use this example as a metaphor. I'm not going to go into details on it, but Lama Tsongkhapa tells about that we need to use the energy of desire in order to generate great bliss on our path. And then the question that comes after is, but, how can I generate the energy of desire if I am supposed to be free from a desire and attachment to it? In other words, in this specific text, it's talking about using the sexual energy positively. Okay? And the question that comes is, okay, but if I am not supposed to, but the first condition in order to be able to make that use is to have no attachment for the sexual pleasure itself. So the question that comes is, how can I generate desire for something that I don't have attachment for it, basically, And then Lama Tsongkhapa answers saying, it's like, even though you have no attachment for food, when you are hungry, you eat. It doesn't mean that necessarily you need to have attachment to the food itself. Okay. What I want to say with this is that there are moments that we have moments of joy, we have moments of pleasure, and that's okay. We enjoy them. Okay. But this doesn't mean that necessarily we need to project our happiness in it and we need to be trapped by it. It's a very subtle difference between, but it is possible. So when we have moments of pleasure, that's good, that's wonderful, but this should just be one influence. We offer it to every holy being, the good experience we have. We dedicate that every sentient being may experience it also. So when we have a moment of pleasure, we offer it. We always visualize Guru Buddha in our heart and we make an offering to all the Buddhas, all the holy beings. Because as I experience pleasure and joy and happiness, I offer it to all the holy beings and to all the Buddhas through the Guru that is in my heart. And then I dedicate for every sentient being that may experience the same. I am transforming the moment of pleasure, of happiness, into the path to enlightenment. Okay. This is one way. The second step, which is here, second step, or anyhow, the other part, is transforming the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment. And this is the one we have today here, which somehow is more important. I'm not sure if more important, but it somehow is more important because if we do not transform the circumstances the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment, we have a tendency to react negatively to the adverse circumstances. And then we just make things worse. Okay? So, here Geshe Chekawa says, Sumba kinge chanchu lam tu gyurwa nyes, nöchu dikpe kangwetse kinge chanchu lam tu gyur, tela kangtu gom tu jar, jorwa shiden tabki chom. When the environment and its inhabitants overflow with unwholesomeness, transform adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment. Apply meditation immediately at every opportunity. The supreme method is accompanied by the 4 practices. So now let's see what are the techniques that we have here. It's 2 main techniques in order to develop, to transform the difficult moments, the adverse circumstances, into the path to enlightenment. Okay? Let's see them. So, when the environment and its inhabitants overflow with unwholesomeness, transform the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment. This part, as we said before, it's very important. And one of the first things that actually we need to do in order to transform the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment, one of the first things is to avoid fearing suffering. To have fear of suffering. Because in the moment that we fear suffering, what happens is that out of fear for suffering, first of all, we suffer more. Second, what happens is because I don't want to suffer, because I must avoid suffering, what happens out of that? I end up with aversion, anger, attraction, envy. I acting in ways to avoid suffering, and actually by that I am creating causes for more suffering. Okay. So, what's the first noble truth? The truth of suffering. Some people say the truth that life is suffering. It's not exact, we don't need to be so drastic, but the fact is that can we, avoid completely suffering in our life? Is there any special way other than enlightenment to completely avoid our suffering? No. Do we try to avoid suffering? And what is our experience as we try to avoid suffering? We try to avoid it in one way, and then what happens? It comes in another. Then we try to avoid it in that other way, and then it comes still in another way. It's the most creative thing, no? It's like, it doesn't matter how we try to avoid it, it will always find a new way how to come in and how to appear and to manifest. Okay? So, once we see that it's inevitable to suffer, just relax about it. Suffering is there, it's part of life, it's okay, nothing wrong with it. Especially, we are able to do that if we use life with a higher purpose. If we have a higher objective that transcends the daily aspects of our lives, then we can use this in a better way. Because, making an example, let's say I have the objective, I want to reach Bodh Gaya walking. Okay? The important point is not if I had a pleasurable day or if it was an unpleasant day. The important thing is, am I more near to Bodh Gaya by the end of the day? Oh, it was such a hard day, I walked so much, my legs are painful, I had too much sun, I didn't get so much water. Oh, but I walked very much and now I get to a very good point on my trip going to Bodh Gaya. That's good. I am more near to my objective. Okay? The point is that suffering is inevitable. Sorry to be so direct. Okay? As long as we have selfishness, as long as we have ignorance, suffering is inevitable. So, at least let's use suffering in a way that is positive for us. We need to use it in a positive way. And most of all, we need to experience suffering without generating more suffering. So the first step is we need to avoid fear of suffering. Because out of the fear for suffering, we suffer more and we create more suffering. Okay, I think this is quite clear, right? Then, there are different approaches, but let's say two main approaches to transform the adverse circumstances into the path to enlightenment. For both of them, we need to make the fear of suffering less in order to be able to apply them. Okay? Because if we have a very strong level of fear of suffering, it will be difficult for us to transform because we just stay completely in the defense mode and we don't relax by any means, and then we're not able to really to use that circumstance as the path to enlightenment. So, first step is acknowledge yourself that there is no much choice. In a way or in another, I need to suffer, so just relax. Okay? Like, better to use it in a positive way, better to transform that, because we have no much choice, really. Okay? I don't know. I have never met anyone that was able to avoid completely suffering. Yes, there are people that suffer more, people that suffer less in many different conditions. But anyhow, it's there. So let's make friendship with it. Okay? This remembers me one friend that was very, very sick. She already passed away. And she had really a lot of pain. And the morphine was not enough and so on. She really had a lot of pain. And talking to her one time, I gave one sort of advice. I tried to find something that could help her, Not easy at all. And then finally it helped her, which was trying to help her to say, okay, you need to make friendship with pain. Because it's there. Imagine there is a person that you need to live together in the same room, and you don't like the person. Okay? You are living together in the same room, sharing the same room, maybe sharing the same bed or not. But the fact is that you really don't like each other. You never choose to stay together. You both were forced to be together. But you have no choice other than being with that person 24 hours. And you really don't like the person. The more you avoid the person, the more you remember that you don't like the person, the more you try to go into conflict with the person, the worse it gets. So what's the choice? No, there is no possibility. We're not talking about marriage. We are talking about a situation where you have no choice whatsoever. So, if you are in a situation in which you have no choice whatsoever but to be there, what is your actual choice? Or make friendship. Okay? You need to make friendship because you have no other way. There I am here, you are there. Okay? We need to be together. I don't like you, you don't like me. We have complete different ways of doing things. We have completely different ways of understanding reality. We think differently. We like different things. I like to be awake in the morning. You like to sleep in the night. Like different ideas, like complete different ways. But we are together. And we have no choice. So what do? The only choice we have is, or we stay constantly in conflict. I try to make you to be in my way. You try to make me be in your way. Or we find a common ground and we try to respect and understand the suffering and the happiness and the needs of each other, and we try to make friendship between us. It's not easy because we are proud and we do not accept reality as it is. Okay? Similar to that, pain is something that it's not pleasurable, we don't want, but some people, very sadly, they experience situations of constant pain. So in the moment that it's possible somehow to accept the pain, to stop fighting against it, this helps to find some level of relaxation within the difficult situation, which doesn't mean giving up to pain. I'm still doing everything I can so that we can live separately. But as long as we are together, let's be friends. So, I'm still doing everything I can to eliminate the pain. But as long as I have it, let me not stay constantly fighting against it. Okay? Because then this adds the physical pain to the mental suffering together with it, and it gets just worse. So with this friend of mine, it helped her. And she was quite able to do it somehow. She was with pain, but gradually, even though the pain was there, she was able to stay with a peaceful state of mind, even though she had incredible pain. Okay? So, similar to that, where I want to get is that in the moment that we have suffering, we have difficulties, first step is accept it. First step is, okay, I don't fight against it. I'm not going to be afraid of the suffering. Sure, I have a problem, I go to look for a solution. No doubt. But it's there. It's part of life. I'm not going to go against it in this way. Okay? So I'm not having no fear of suffering itself. That's difficult but important point. Second step, there are two different attitudes that we can have. One is connected to the law of karma. The other one is connected to changing our behavior and understanding the difficult moment as a way for us to see more clearly our own defilements and to train to develop more love and wisdom and so on. Okay? So, the first one is based on the law of karma. So we'll start explaining the first one. The first one is quite well explained in the Guru Puja, verse number 96, and also in the text of Lojong, as it says, when the environment and its inhabitants overflow with unwholesomeness, transform adverse circumstances into the path of enlightenment. And it's more detailed, more well explained in the verse number 96 of the Guru Puja, as it says, should even the environment and the beings therein be filled with the fruits. Here there is a mistake in English translation, okay? We are going to make a new print of Guru Puja with some corrections, but this is a very big mistake on the translation, which is just a little word. Literally, it's okay as translation, but from the meaning is really a big mistake. Because it says, should even the environment and the beings therein be filled with the fruits of their karmic debts? No, be filled with the fruits of my karmic debts. It's just this word, their and mine, that need to be changed, okay? So, should even the environment and the beings therein be filled with the fruits of my karmic debts, and one wish for suffering pour down like rain on me, we seek your blessings to take these miserable conditions as a path, by seeing them as causes to exhaust the results of our negative karma. Which means, in the moment that the environment is in a difficult situation, which means there is a lot of cold, there is a lot of heat, there is no food, or whatever type of difficult condition, which means when the environment is filled with the fruits of my debit, my karmic debt, my negative actions, and when the beings there within treat me with violence and in a way that I suffer out of it, okay? So, when there is an adverse circumstance which can be created or by an environmental circumstance or by the people and beings living within the environment that are treating me within a violent way, may I understand that what I am experiencing is actually not something which is being done by these people and by the conditions. What I am experiencing is the result of the actions that I have myself created in the past. And what I'm experiencing in the present is just the condition through which that cause is manifest. A few days ago, when we were talking about the karma, I concluded it making a metaphor, and which was of the credit card. Okay, so let's use it once again. Imagine that karma is like a credit card. Every action we do is like we buy something with the credit card, or we buy something, which means we create a debit, or we get something, we do something positive, and then we get a credit. Okay? So, let's talk about the debit part 1 minute first. I go there and I buy things. What happens normally with the credit cards? Everywhere we use, by the end of the month, we need to pay. Quite clear, no? Imagine that the karmic credit card is a bit different. First of all, we don't know exactly when we will need to pay, when the bill will come. Very once in a while, once every day, almost quite often, bill comes. And we don't know it's a bill for what, you know. We just see the bill coming and we have no idea where the bill came from. What is it? Also because in the bill, there is no description of what we are paying for. So just come the amount, you pay, boom. What would happen for us if we had a credit card that the bill will come in a random system, almost looks random to us, and then we have no idea what is the amount for what it is? We will feel I haven't spent that money. Why am I paying for that? No? I had a very similar experience some time ago, which I was reflecting a bit about it after. It was nice, finally. I had the insurance of my car. So every year I pay the insurance of the car. So came the moment to pay the insurance of the car, and I said, okay. Then I went to talk. I talked by phone to the lady, and I said, oh, how much it is? And she said, oh, it's like this, because this year you did an accident with the car, so it went a little bit higher. And I said, what accident? And I said, okay, I lend my car to many people use my car. I almost never drive my car, not drive anymore. Many other people are driving my car. So maybe someone did an accident and didn't tell me, because I don't remember anything. Then I was thinking, who can be that did an accident with the car? Where did it happen? How come? And I couldn't find anything. And then I called this lady, and I was even a little bit thinking, that must be a mistake. There was no any accident with the car. And I was a little bit like this, how come? And then I said, but is there a document when you do the accident, you make the declaration of the accident? She said, yes. Can you send a copy to me? She said, oh, yes. She sent me the copy. There was my signature in it. I said, no, come on. Who is faking my signature, That was the first immediate reaction, because in my memory, I did no accident, whatever. Then I looked at it and I started reading the date, the place, the description. And then finally I remembered. Because I was not understanding. The description was it happened here in the center. Then finally I remember, it was one day, late in the evening, I was working in the office until maybe 1:30 at night. I was completely drunk by sleep. I was completely sleepy. It was cold. My car was parked here, so I took the car. It was raining and foggy. And I was not aware that there was a car parked on the side. It was all dark. I didn't see the car exactly very near to my car. And I just went back and I turned the car quite quickly, and then it hit the car on the side. And then the next day I needed to leave for a travel, so I contacted here in the center. I said, oh, please, who was the car, Because someone came to the center, is sleeping in the center. The next morning, go there's the car with a bump in the car, and nobody there, so sorry, it was me. So I did all the documentation for that, so the insurance paid the car of the person. And then once I understood it, okay, then everything is fine. I did a mistake, so it's normal. I pay for the consequence. Finish. But when we see that we have to pay for the consequence, but we do not connect that with the actual mistake, with the cause, then we are not able to accept it so easily. But the fact is that whenever comes the bill, at some point, we bought it. We did the cause, So, karma is coming to us, the result, the bill is coming, and we have no idea. And what happens is that if I don't pay the bill now, does that mean that it will be completely eliminated? The debt that I have? Or if I don't pay the bill now, it means that I will need to pay it later with more interest. The interest rates will just get higher and higher, and sooner or later I need to pay it. What do we do normally? In order to pay our credit card bill, our karmic credit card bill, what we do, we use another credit card again. Okay? So normally we are making new debts to pay for the previous debts. Because when we experience the result of something negative with suffering, how do we react? Oh, look, that's the result of my negative karma. How good, now I have some less negative karma. Or we blame the one that is the condition. Like someone come and brings us the bill. Oh, here is the bill for your credit card. Can we get angry with the one that is bringing us the bill? And we react negatively and we make one more debt again? That's what we do, It's like if we are walking in the middle of the street, someone come and spit in our face. What do we do? Oh, that's all the result of some negative karma that I did? Or we simply react towards the person in an at least mentally violent manner. How do we react back? We react with violence, right? That's how we do normally. So when someone have a negative attitude towards us, what's our normal behavior? We react at least mentally. Maybe it's not worth to react verbally, You look, the guy is big. Oh, I'm not going to react to him physically. But inside we are thinking all the most terrible things, So, this is making a new debt to pay the previous one. Because we do not make the connection between the result and the cause. But one thing we need to be sure, if the bill comes, it's because we used some more at some moment. We create the cause. So, what happens is that when we have this awareness, every result that we experience, or better, every situation of suffering that we experience, of suffering through the body, suffering through the mind, conditions around us, we are only experiencing it because at some point, at some time, we did something stupid, and here we are now paying for the bill. Okay? If I do something stupid, but then I forget completely what I did, does that mean that I am not anymore responsible for it? If I do, let's say, a crime, I kill someone, and then I go to sleep and I wake up with a total amnesia. I truly don't remember what I did. And I truly regret, or I truly regret what I did. Does this mean that I am not anymore responsible for what I did because I don't remember? No. And because I don't do it anymore, does this mean that I am not responsible for what I did? No. Similar to that, it's not because yesterday I did a crime and I don't remember that today I don't need to pay the consequences. It's not because, we have the total amnesia of our previous lives that we are not responsible for what we did before. We don't even remember well what we ate at lunch yesterday very often, Forget about remembering all our actions and all the things we did. So, yes, did we ever do anything stupid in this life? Which means, did we ever act in a violent, negative way with our body, speech, or mind? Yes. So just multiply it for all our previous lives, okay? And then we can see that we have a lot that we did in the past. So, many debts. So what happens is that when something comes, it's not because of someone else. It's because we did something wrong. So the first thing here is to stop pointing the fingers to others when we experience a negative situation. Just remember that the person is just a condition through which the causes that we did in the past is manifesting. The situation in which we are is just a condition that would never manifest as suffering if we had not created the causes in the past. So, sometimes there is some confusion here, because some people even go to an extreme, which is saying, okay, you are doing a negative action towards me, but this is a result of the action that I did in the past. So, sorry, I am guilty of your negative action because it's a result of my negative action of the past. No, stop it. Okay? That's just too much confusion together. We need to understand one thing clearly. I am responsible for my actions and I experience my results. You are responsible for your actions and you experience your results. And we interact. So in the moment that I come and I do an action towards you, positive or negative, I am creating my own causes. But my interaction towards you, it becomes a condition for some cause that you created to manifest, positive or negative. Okay? So in other words, you are not the cause of my action. We are just interacting between us. Okay? So, what happened is that I have no reason why to become angry on you and why to see you as the cause of my suffering when you are actually just a condition through which it manifests. Otherwise, it's like getting angry with the doctor because he's giving the diagnosis of our sickness. As if he was the cause of the sickness. Or getting angry with the person that is bringing us the bill to pay when we weren't the one to spend the money, no? Or getting angry with the person that comes to apply the law when we were the one to break it. Can we get angry to the judge? but he's just applying the law. I was the one breaking it. Okay? Let's say I break the law, and then comes someone and says, sorry, you broke the law, here you are, you need to pay the fine. It's stupid to get angry to the one that is coming. The one is just doing his job, you know. If I had not broken the law, I would not need to pay the fine. So the mistake is mine. I am responsible for it. So no point in blaming others. And also no point in blaming ourselves. We don't need to enter into the attitude of feeling guilty for what we have done. Because if I have done some mistakes, which I did, which are bringing me the present moment of suffering, why did I do mistakes? Out of jealousy, envy, selfishness, ignorance, and so on. So this becomes a drive for me to say, I must eliminate my own selfishness, I must eliminate my own anger, jealousy, pride, my ignorance ultimately, because I don't want to suffer anymore. It's like experiencing the result of something and continuing to do it. If I see the result of something, what I need to do, I need to stop making it. I need to. It's that experience of suffering. It's a very strong incentive to change the behavior because I see it's coming from there. Okay, it's like I make one very superficial example, but I really like ice cream. Okay, it's one of the things I really like, and I like to go to choose good ice cream and so on. But since few years, I have not eaten any more ice cream. Why? Because I have seen very, very clearly that it harms my health. And my problem truly is not even the health, it's the moment it gives me pain, okay? So I can see a very direct relation between eating ice cream and feeling pain. So what I do, even though I really like it, I stopped eating ice cream. Simple as that. Because I see a very clear relation between the two. What would be completely stupid? I know that ice cream is harming me, but I still continue to eat it because I like it and I know that it's heavy, so I continue to complain about the pain and I continue to eat the ice cream. That's stupid, right? If I see that it's harming me and I feel the pain is showing me that something is wrong, so I must stop the cause of it. And if I'm feeling that pain, it's because I did something wrong. So once I recognize what is the cause, I stop doing it, so I stop having that pain. Simple as that. So that type of pain I almost never had anymore because I stopped doing the things that create me the pain. So simple as that. No? So when we experience something negative, it's like being aware that at some point I created the causes. Where were these causes coming from? From ignorance, selfishness, hatred, attachment, insatisfaction, arrogance, and so on. So I must change my behavior in order to avoid any future suffering also. So, the difficult moment, it brings us different aspects. One is that by experiencing the suffering, we are aware that it's the result of our own negative karma, and based on that, we stop pointing the finger into others. And we use it as a way to extinguish the negative causes that we have created. It's like when I pay the bill, even though it may not be pleasurable to pay, still, I am making my debts smaller, right? So it's something good. If I want to be free of any debt, I need to pay them. Or I need to get an amnesty. No other way around. So, there is one thing that is very important for us to understand. There is a big difference between experiencing the result of our negative actions and by that extinguishing that negative karma, by experiencing its results, and purifying a negative karma. There are two very different things. The purification is when we are able to eliminate one karma, we eliminate one cause, without needing to experience its results. It's like being able to get an amnesty of our debt. We eliminate the debt without needing to pay for it. That's a purification. When we eliminate the debt by paying it, is when we eliminate the negative karma by experiencing its results. We are still eliminating the negative karma, but by experiencing the results, okay? So the process that we need to go through normally when we talk about purification is not that of generating suffering in order to experience the results. It's that of purifying our negativities, okay? Because otherwise, if the process of purification would be just experience more suffering, the more I suffer, the more I purify. Okay, we can make the malas with little, metal points with very sharp things in the end, and then we go, let's do some purification sessions, And then there we are, let's purify. Actually, it's much easier somehow than developing the 4 powers of purification and so on. But it doesn't work truly in this way. So purification is one thing. Suffering is another. There is nowhere at any point Buddha taught you must suffer, we must suffer in order to eliminate our negative karma. There is nowhere something like that. Okay? But there is a part of purification. What to do in order to eliminate the negative karma that we have created in the past. That's not the subject of today. I'm not opening the door right now. But on the same time, when inevitably we experience a negative result, we are making some negative karma less. So first thing, let's stop to blame others and to react negatively towards it. Remember that it's just a result of something we did in the past. So, this becomes a strong incentive for us to change our behavior in the present, because we don't want to continue to experience such results in the future. Okay? When you talk here in this context of transformation, it means we take something that is negative and we make it positive. Okay? So how do we make something that is negative into positive? Because we transform the actual state of suffering, of the adverse circumstance, into the path to enlightenment. How? By using it, first of all, as an incentive for our practice. Because it gives strength. I must meditate. I must do something. I must change my behavior because I don't want to experience any more suffering. So I must change it. It's like if I get very high bills and I understand that it's coming from my behavior, I say I need to change my behavior because I don't want to get that high bills again. Okay? So this is one of the aspects of transformation. The second aspect is the one that we will just come right now. Okay? Next one. No, wait. When we experience the result of something negative, we are just, let's say, paying one bill, okay? Finish. If by that suffering we recognize, I don't want to suffer anymore, so I need to this gives us the strength to do a practice of purification, then we can purify other karmas related to other things or even related to the same, yes. But then we need to go through the process of purification. Okay, which we have the 4 powers of purification and so on. Then we go through that process. Okay, and sure, when we have a moment of suffering, this can be a very strong incentive for us to go through the practice of purification, which is something good. Okay. So let's say 2 incentives. One's to purify, another incentive to change our behavior because we don't want to create more causes. Okay. Well, let's go now to the second part. So, the next way of transforming, as the text says, apply meditation immediately at every opportunity. There are 2 different types of opportunities. Positive circumstances and negative circumstances. This is why it says every opportunity. Otherwise, it could be just put, apply meditation immediately at every negative situation. No. It's saying at every opportunity. The every opportunity, it means the positive circumstances and the negative circumstances. So we need to apply our meditation. What do we intend by meditation? Meditation, it means the practice of familiarization, of training to develop love, compassion, and wisdom. Okay? So how do we do that? There are different ways how we can, by applying the meditation at every circumstance, we can transform it on the path to enlightenment. One of the ways is by using the positive moments and the negative moments to develop love and compassion, to train ourselves in love and compassion. And here Trijang Rinpoche brings one phrase of one great master called Kache Panchen Shakyashri. And that phrase in Tibetan says, Kina dewa tsosongo penden namga kawarsho, dungna kungi dungal kur, dunga gyatso kembarsho. When happy, I dedicate the joy for everyone. May the space, may the sky, may the space be filled with happiness and joy. When suffering, I take the suffering of others upon myself. May the ocean of suffering get dry. How do you say in English? To dry. May the ocean of suffering dry up. Okay? So what does that mean? When we are happy, when we have a moment of pleasure, when we have a moment of satisfaction, of joy, when things are good and we are happy, instead of just wanting to think and to keep our own happiness, we open our heart and we dedicate. May everyone experience the happiness that I am experiencing right now. We can go a little bit further and visualize Guru Buddha in our heart, and we offer this happiness to Guru Buddha in our heart, and by offering to Guru Buddha, we offer to all holy beings. And at the same time, we dedicate for every sentient being, for each and every one. The people who we like, the people who we maybe don't like, the people who are near to us or far away from us. We dedicate to each and every one of them. May every one of them experience the same happiness that I am experiencing right now. I dedicate my joy for all. Okay? When we wish that others may be happy, this is actually the feeling of love. So by dedicating our own pleasure and happiness and well-being to others, we are training ourselves in love. When we have a moment of suffering, what we do, there are two different ways. One way is that, may through my suffering, I take upon myself the suffering of all sentient beings upon my own suffering. So may by eliminating my suffering, may I eliminate the suffering of everyone else. The other way, more simple, is just to dedicate. Whenever we suffer, may everyone that experiences similar suffering be free from their suffering also. Okay? So when we wish, may everyone be free from their suffering, because I recognize that the suffering that I have is not good and I don't like it and I don't want it, so may everyone that may have a similar suffering be also free from it. What are we wishing? May the others be free from suffering. So what does that mean? We are wishing for compassion. We are wishing for the others to be free from suffering, which means training ourselves in compassion. Okay? Because in the moment that I don't want you to suffer, I have compassion. So we use the positive moments to develop love and accumulate merits by making the offerings to all holy beings. In the difficult moments, we request the blessings to Guru Buddha in our heart, and we dedicate that may everyone be free from suffering. Independently who they are, where they are, what they do, may everyone be free from the same suffering that I am experiencing right now. So, we are not asking, I want to suffer more. What we are doing is we are just saying, I am experiencing suffering, I don't want my suffering, but not only I want to be free from my suffering, may everyone that have a similar suffering be also free from their suffering. In the moment that we do that, we are training in compassion. So we transform both moments, the good moments by developing love, and the bad moments by developing compassion. We transform them into the path of enlightenment. By training, because the process of enlightenment is basically, the path is made of developing love and compassion and wisdom. So we are technically, practically transforming the circumstances into the path to enlightenment. And it's quite simple, right? It's not so difficult, is it? Technically. Okay? So we're not asking about make a complex equation, whatever, and meditate, okay? There is another technique which is more complicated, this yes, which is that when we have a difficult moment, we meditate on the lack of inherent existence of the circumstances, of the actual sensation, and of ourselves, okay? But we live for advanced level. We can meditate, we can use also the positive and negative circumstances to meditate on emptiness and to reflect on impermanence also, but I meant to reflect on interdependence and so on. But this is something that we don't need to go through it right now. The point here is, whenever we have a difficult moment, let's use it to develop compassion. Whenever we have a pleasurable moment, let's use it to develop love. And we have good moments and bad moments every day. So we use it in this way. And then, the next level, it is the fact that whenever we have a difficult moment, an adverse circumstance is showing to us our own defilements. It's forcing us out of our comfort zone. And it's only when we go out of the comfort zone, sorry to say, for most of us, we are lazy by nature. So it's only when we are forced out of our comfort zone that we do something really to change, Otherwise, we try just to remain somehow within that comfort zone. So when do we really make an effort to make change? When something is not fine where we are. As Shantideva said in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, Dungal me nang echung me. Without suffering, there is no definitive emergence. Without suffering, there is no renunciation. Without suffering, there is no the wish to get out of suffering. There is no the wish to change our behavior. Because I don't see anything wrong, it's fine. So why do I need to change anything? Let's just let it as it is, no? So instead, when we recognize that something is not good, then it really makes us the effort to change. This is where, within this context of these teachings, it is said that our enemies, and by enemies we mean people, situation, objects, places, okay? Anything that we see as an object of aversion, everything that is in our enemies are actually our true friends. Our enemies are our best friends, it's said. Why? Because in the moment that I am in the context that I truly want to develop myself on the path to enlightenment, I must see my defilements. Because it's only when I see my shadow that I can apply the light. It's only when I see the symptom and I recognize the sickness that I can apply the medicine. Otherwise, I can have a full pharmacy at home. If I don't know where is the symptom and I don't know what is the sickness, I cannot use it. So we have the Dharma, which is the medicine. But we need to see our own sickness. We need to see our own symptom. We need to see our own shadows so that we can apply the medicine of the Dharma. Otherwise, we build up a beautiful pharmacy, but if we never see our own symptoms, we are never going to use them on us. So we must see it. That's why also, it's traditionally great practitioners, once they reach a state where every situation around is not making any more suffering, when the practitioner, it doesn't matter what is happening around, is not losing any more the patience. Let's say, if we reach a level where we don't lose any more our patience for anything, we are not anymore jealous or envy, we don't have attitudes of arrogance, we are not so selfish, we are quite balanced, things are quite well. So we don't have many mental defilements being manifested. Then what we do? We go to look for more extreme circumstances in order to check, am I really free of these defilements? Or just the circumstances are not enough for them to manifest? Because now they became more subtle. Then when I see them, yes, I got you. And then we take the medicine from our shelf and then we apply it. Our meditation, our sadhanas, our practices, our awareness, and so on. So, difficulties from this point of view are sacred. I had a moment in my life where I didn't have much difficulty. No, before there's another example, sorry. One friend of ours, it's a geshe, a monk living in the south of India. And a few years ago, I think 2005, he had a very, very, very difficult period in his life. I don't go into details, not in order to avoid creating aversion in anyone. But he had a moment where he suffered a lot of injustice, a moment where he suffered a lot of aggression and violence from others, verbal, physical, in many levels, a really, really quite extreme adverse circumstance. So what he did was that he did a retreat. He took that period and he made a retreat of meditation on the 6th chapter of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, which is the chapter on patience. Because he saw that anger was coming, and aversion was coming, and the wish of revenge and defense, and all of this was arising somewhere. But he used that adverse circumstances to see what was inside, and he put effort into the antidote instead of following it. And he stayed listening to the teachings of Geshe Shiwanchuk, which is his guru. Recorded teachings, he was listening to it again and again on the 6th chapter, which is called the chapter of patience. And by that, he was able to overcome that moment in a very stable and good way. So, we have the tools. We need to apply them, but the defilement must appear, Like, I remember there was a moment in my life, I was living in India, and everything was so beautiful, everything was so good, I had nothing to complain whatsoever. Life was just so good, no problems at all. Then I remember one day I started thinking, I said, I must have some problems. Because otherwise I cannot learn, How can I understand other people? How can I learn if I don't see I have problems? It was enough to ask for a few times, I got them, They were not small. They were not easy. I had very difficult moments in many different ways. But when I look at the moment, sure, I didn't want the problems as I was experiencing them. But when I look now, I was forced to look at myself, to change some behaviors, to overcome some circumstances. And nowadays, I am much, much stronger, with more wisdom, more stable, with many qualities. And I was able to look at some defilements because I went through that circumstances. So I am profoundly grateful for it. So, actually, truly, if we look, the negative situations, if we want to practice the Dharma, they are good for us in a way. Okay? If we practice the antidote, if we just follow the negativity and we create more negativities, then it's not good. Okay? But if we are able to transform the adverse circumstance into the path to enlightenment, it is like a shortcut where we see what is happening inside. We look, it's painful, yes, but it's good. Because it's like taking a thorn that is inside of us, but it's there for such a long time that we don't feel it so much anymore. So when someone starts touching there, it's painful. But then this means we can find where the thorn is and we can take it out finally. So in this way, it's good to have circumstances that, make us to practice more patience. Where do we need to practice patience? Not with when everyone thinks is fine. Our place of practicing patience is the difficult situations and the difficult moments. So this is how one of the other ways how we transform the adverse circumstances onto the path to enlightenment, by having this awareness of them also, and using them as a method to see our defilements so that we can apply the antidote to them. Okay? The last part here is called, the supreme method is accompanied by the 4 practices. So they are called the 4 practices. We are going to see them tomorrow. But just very briefly, the 4 practices are accumulating merit, purifying our negativities, then offering dharmas, which means acting with generosity with those around us to avoid interferences. And the 4th one is to rely upon a dharmapala, to rely upon a dharma protector in order to protect us from interferences from those that even though we are generous with them, they still want to make problem to us. Protect us on our spiritual path. So one of the very important things of this part, and that's why tomorrow we will go to see with more details, is explaining us how to rely correctly upon a Dharmapala, a Dharma protector, which is something that comes since the time of Buddha. There are Dharma protectors. Okay? So I think this is all for today. It's an important thing for us to see that actually, one thing to conclude, sorry, I forgot. The conclusion of this is for us to understand that our objective is not to have a comfortable life. Our objective is to have a meaningful life. Okay. So, good moments, welcome. Bad moments, welcome. As long as they take me along the path. As long as they make me grow. As long as I develop my qualities. Okay. So, the practice of Dharma is not necessarily easy, it's not necessarily pleasurable. But it should be joyful on our path. So, it's just, if we make this difference, our objective is not to have a comfortable life, but it's to have a meaningful life. So, the good moments we will enjoy it as much as we can, and we will use it for our own path to develop love and compassion and wisdom. And the bad moments, we will also use it in the best way as we can, in order we solve the problems. We don't go to look for them, at least for now. We solve the problems, but at the same time that we solve the problems, we use them as a path for enlightenment, to develop compassion, to see ourselves more clearly, to apply the antidotes in a more precise way on ourselves. That's to get the strength to abandon our negative habits because we don't want them anymore. So with this, we transform the adverse circumstances on the path to enlightenment. Okay. Milarepa used to say, I had one saying, which is sad that it was from Milarepa, which says, when I am healthy, I am happy because I can practice well my meditation and so on. When I am sick, I am happy because I am eliminating the negativities that I have accumulated within my continuum. No? So it is like, if we make this clear, my objective is not to have a comfortable life. My objective is to have a meaningful life. Meaningful means develop my qualities, help others. So if I use every circumstances, positive circumstances, I use in a meaningful way to develop myself and help others. Negative circumstances, I use in a meaningful way to develop myself and help others. Then everything is fine. Okay? So just to say, if we put clear to us that our objective is not a comfortable life, it's a meaningful life, that can be comfortable, but that's a positive side effect, that's not the objective. If we make clear to ourselves, my objective is to have a meaningful life, not a comfortable life, then naturally we will experience reality in a more relaxed and easy way, and eventually it will be more comfortable. Okay? Jetson Lama Kutse Rapten Chi Namkar Tinle Chochur Gepada Losan Tempe Drume Sasumgi Drove Munsel Tatu Negur Chi Nimo Dele Tsendele Nime Kuyan Delekshin Ninsen Taktu Delekpe Koncho Sumki Jingi Lob Koncho sumgi ngodru sumgi trashishu. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.